Silly season is in full swing for the drivers, but it seems like the teams might be having their own, slightly slower moving silly season as well. With the Red Bull and Porsche deal dead, rumours are flying about some new, potentially huge partnership shuffling. Merc might be losing a customer or two, Red Bull are realising they might need an engine partner after all, and behind all of this, there's a queue of brands waiting for the chance to enter the sport. Want to know what the grid might look like in 2026? Then stick around as we get you up to date. For months, and I mean months, we've been hearing that Porsche and Red Bull are definitely partnering up in preparation for the 2026 engine regulation change. The engine regulations have always been the most important part of this whole thing. The 2026 F1 season will see the introduction of a new power unit formula, the first since the FIA introduced the current V6 turbo hybrid engines that are still in place today back in 2014. The revised power units will increase the electrical power generated by up to 50% over current levels, with the FIA claiming the power units will maintain similar performance to existing engines. The power unit introduced for the 2026 season will continue to use the current 1.6-litre V6 internal combustion engine, but with a decreased flow fuel limit that will produce around 400 kilowatts of power. The MGUH will go, and the FIA claims that all racing fuels used for the new 2026 power units will be 100% sustainable fuel, while fuel flow rates will now be measured and limited based on energy, rather than mass or volume of the fuel itself. Sustainable fuel in the cars will make very little impact on the carbon output of the sport, but when that sustainable fuel makes it to the logistics side as well, it will be huge. Most importantly, F1 wants to be a global leader in sustainable fuels, opening doors for engine manufacturers worldwide. And that is why Porsche, Audi, and many others want to come on board. They can now see the obvious crossover from F1 engines into their own engines, and how the technology from F1 can make their road cars better. Red Bull team principal Christian Horner has suggested bureaucracy within Porsche and F1's history of manufacturers flitting in and out of the sport killed a deal with the German giant. Horner has insinuated that there was no binding agreement between the companies at that stage, and following further talks, Porsche was simply not the right fit for Red Bull. Explaining the remark, Horner said, "One of our core strengths has been our independence, and that enables us to make quick, effective decisions and react very quickly as a race team. We've seen on so many occasions the manufacturers are less autonomous in their decision making. That was a key aspect of protecting what we have and how we operate, which has proven to be reasonably successful. Just because Porsche weren't willing to work on Red Bull's terms though doesn't mean another brand won't." Horner said Red Bull would be open to the prospect of a collaboration with another manufacturer, though he made it clear the Milton Keynes outfit is pushing ahead with their own plans, which he stressed are not dependent on other potential partnerships. "We'd be stupid not to listen," Horner admitted, "but it would have to fit strategically and complement what we're doing to ensure it followed the same roadmap that Red Bull Powertrains is on." Before we talk about Red Bull's options, let's see where Porsche could go. There is a mid-October deadline for engine manufacturers to sign up for the 2026 season and be part of the voting for regulatory matters in 2026. That news would seemingly limit Porsche's options. With the deadline fast approaching and only just over a month to go, Porsche would already need to be talking to teams to get this deal across the line in time. Otherwise, they may be forced into only putting their name on an engine rather than developing it fully. To get a deal done quickly, you need to find yourself a very willing partner, and one of the Mercedes teams may be the place for that. Mercedes boss Toto Wolff has made no secret of the fact that he wants to reduce the amount of teams buying Mercedes power units. At the moment, they sell to Aston Martin, Williams, and McLaren, and at least two of those teams would probably be keen for a switch as well. In Williams' case, the recent takeover by Doralton Capital has changed the team's ambition and brought a new drive to the organisation. Williams, under the Williams family, were obviously always ambitious, but they never had the capital to be able to push away from the back of the grid. Despite having the Mercedes engine that for the previous 8 seasons was unquestionably the best on the grid, they haven't been able to replicate that success. There is obviously more to success in F1 than a good engine, but perhaps the team think a change in supplier might help get them out of their slump. A partnership with Porsche may be exactly what they're after. Williams aren't looking to make their own engines, and Porsche wants complete control of any engine they make. It is a match made in heaven. McLaren are a similar story. They're also looking for that next push up the grid, and maybe a new engine could be just what they're after. McLaren, through Zak Brown, have strong links with F1 wannabe constructor Andretti Autosport, and that is maybe the key to Porsche's entry. The AlphaTauri team is open to a potential sale. That hasn't been a secret for a long time. Andretti's attempts to join the sport as the 11th team on the grid have hit a Toto Wolff-shaped brick wall, so the American team are looking for other routes. A big stumbling block for Andretti has been the lack of global appeal. Sure, in America the team is massive, but outside of the land of the free, not so much. If they could come with Porsche in tow, a global brand known in every corner of the world, then F1 would find it very hard to say no. Porsche would build the engine, Andretti would build the car, and McLaren could come on board as an engine customer, and Zak Brown could get mates rates from his golfing partner Michael Andretti. In 2026, we could see a Porsche engine in a McLaren, and an Andretti Porsche team on the grid in place of AlphaTauri. There are a lot of steps to get there yet, but when it happens, remember you heard it here first. So that is Porsche's situation explained and dissected. What about Red Bull though? Red Bull is open to discussing how Honda could contribute to its 2026 Formula 1 engine program, now that negotiations with Porsche have formally ended. The championship-leading team currently uses engines designed and assembled by Honda in the wake of the Japanese manufacturer's official withdrawal from F1 at the end of 2021, and will continue to use these engines until the end of the current rules cycle in 2025. Red Bull has set up a new powertrains company to build its first in-house F1 engine for 2026, and that facility has already grown to more than 300 staff. But the team is still interested in collaboration. While Red Bull have got the internal combustion engine side of things up and running, they are yet to cover the electrical components of the engine. The reason Honda left the sport in the first place is because they wanted to focus on their electrical engines as the company aims to go 100% electric. Honda has kept an eye on F1, and this may be the exact reason why. Our trainers left the station for 2026. We have an engine and prototype running. We have all of the dynos commissioned, we're up and running, said Christian Horner. Honda are a great company. They announced their withdrawal from F1 to focus their attention on the electrification of their products, moving away from the combustion engine. So you would assume if they were to look to return to F1, that would have to be taken into account. Whether or not there was any interest potentially on the battery side and any potential synergies there, it could be an interesting discussion. It isn't just Christian Horner making positive noises about re-teaming with Honda. Team advisor Helmut Marko has admitted that he'll be having meetings with Honda representatives later this year to discuss their potential partnership. I'll be flying to Tokyo between the Singapore and Suzuka races in early October, explained Dr. Marko. Red Bull didn't say anything about the Porsche partnership until the media discovered the ongoing discussions between them. The fact that they're being so open about joining up with Honda again makes us think that discussions may be further along than expected. There are more companies than just Honda and Porsche looking for a way into F1 though. F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali has let on. Speaking about the Porsche situation ahead of the Italian Grand Prix, Domenicali said, "I can only say that Porsche is an integral part of the group that has discussed and continues to discuss the rules behind the new power unit that will come into force in 2026. We've all read comments from Porsche and Red Bull, and they will be them to decide what to do. But I believe that we as F1 are currently a very inclusive platform. There are also other manufacturers sitting at the table of the engineers who prefer not to come out into the open. We could guess at who those companies might be for hours and probably end up naming just about every vehicle manufacturer in the world, so we won't. But it is interesting to think about the other potential options. For now, all we can do is consider the names we have, and a Honda Red Bull team in 2026 is looking very likely. Porsche coming in with Andretti and selling to McLaren may be a little less likely, but we wouldn't be surprised to see it happen. What company would you like to see in the sport in 2026? And do you think Porsche will find their way onto the grid? Let us know your predictions in the comments, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.